do you think that's because of man's evolution? Like so our fathers, and it's very slow progress in terms of the way we're taught to be able to communicate, to be able to stay at home, be a house husband, not to be the breadwinner. That it's change. It's such a challenge for us as men to be able to for those roles to change. I mean, women are having no problem. Yeah. Women are really powering, and
the truth is that there are hidden landmines, and I write about this in my most recent book, not the first one.
Yeah.
About turning 50, not 40. It is, and this is a really sensitive topic, right? So not only do men find it difficult to change the role, but they don't always get rewarded for it. So the truth is, let's just make this up as a different scenario.
Yeah.
Right. Someone that you and I have never met.
Yeah.
As an example, right? So, woman falls in love with man when man is thrusting corporate executive or filmmaker. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and they have a wonderful courtship and a wonderful early marriage and blah blah blah. And he's always leading the morning with a briefcase or a camera. I'm off to conquer foreign lands. Yeah. 15 years later, do you know what? I want to stay at home. Now, it's challenging, and many women won't admit it. Some will, which is, do you know what? I can't really fancy you if you're the bloke in the dressing gown when I leave. It's sort of hardwired.
Yeah.
I want the. I sort of want it all. I want the caring, sharing bloke who's able to cry, blah blah blah. But I'd still quite like it if you would knob off in a BMW and come back with sackloads of cash. And so not only have I, again, an example is the nightmare of a bloke saying, I thought I was doing the right thing, and yet all I've done is driven you away because you actually don't want me in the domestic terrain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then sometimes it's conscious, sometimes it's subconscious. You go, what? So it's not an easy thing. In some ways, the law of unintended consequences.
No, I don't know. No.
Well, so you, I don't know. You think that I don't know. You. I'm trying to think of big examples aren't to do with this, but you introduce something.
Yes.
For this consequence, whether it be the pill or a law.
Yeah.
But then it produces a completely.
Yeah.
So there's obviously you wouldn't want it, but there's an unintended consequence in a way of lots of the breakdown of relationships that is happening.
Yes.
Is that dads? So obviously they wouldn't want it, and like every cloud, it's got a silver lining, blah blah blah. Is some people, it's like losing my job. I thought my life was over, but it turned out to be the very best thing that happened to me, retrospectively.
Yeah.
Is there's a generation of single dads who are amazing fathers, have got incredible relationships with their kids, are wonderful role models, are bringing up a generation that's going to save the world, and they're going to have an old age with a brilliant relationship with their kids and their grandkids, who ironically wouldn't if they hadn't broken up.
I know.
Because what happens is they were thrown into a situation where their natural, moral desire to do the right thing and be an involved parent, but now on a different basis because they're not in the basis that they were in, and there's a whole bunch of hardship and difficulty and struggles and blah blah blah. But they are back to that involved competency thing.
Yeah.
They are thrown into the involved box.
Yeah.
And they work it out as people do, and you go, wow, you're a brilliant dad. You're wow. I'm not advocating spinning up to do that, but you go it's quite an interesting.
Yeah.
It's sort of unintended positive consequence. There's a whole bunch of men who are completely comfortable and in touch with doing all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so true. And for generations to come, it'll only improve. So, right. Maybe this era, I don't know, it's like 1 in 2 in the States, get divorced, 1 in 3 here.
Yeah.
That's half the population moving forward. It will progress.
Now, some dads and some mums respond horribly, and they don't do it. So it's interesting. In terms of groups, I'm always nervous when it's working mums or working dads or single dads, or within the army, the police, sporting teams, we're just humans. And
Yeah.
there are some rubbish ones and some good ones and some, you know, normal average ones. But yeah, I think you're right. I think there's, again, back to being a long-range optimist, I think we're slowly working stuff out. If I look at my parents, my parents' generation, but including my parents, who I love dearly, who did a fantastic job, but they underparented.
Yes.
And I think I overparent. Is the truth. I think I never got any. The worst sin in my family is to have tickets on yourself and do. So it wouldn't matter if I won the Olympic gold and got a Nobel Peace Prize. They would say, "But wasn't number 3 brilliant?" And I thought you were a little bit slow on the turn. I mean, they would never say well done. It would just nothing, because they'd be terrified that someone would say, "Look at me, I've got a gold medal," and not that I ever did. Right? So I have completely overcompensated with my kids. So whatever they do, it's amazing, and I'm, which they'll be in therapy in 10 years' time going, Dad would jump up and down and applaud when I came home with the finger painting, and I'm just doing it out of love and because of how I was brought up, reacting to it, and that's probably too much. They're going to go and get a job and wonder why people aren't applauding when they photocopy something. But then maybe they'll do it in between, so they'll get the best of both worlds and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It takes generations, I think, to work this stuff out, and also kids are resilient, and that's not an excuse to be useless. But sometimes I think people, I think we should. It's like prepare for the worst and hope for the best. It's like sort of obviously do the best you can with kids, but they'll work it out. If you see some of the hideous, awful, childhood some people have, and they end up wonderfully happy, fulfilled, contributing.
Yeah, amazing things to the world. Yeah.
Yeah, you go. The kids will sort of work it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you obviously it's preferable if you've got a great partnership and there's 2 people around and and all that stuff. But the downside, if there isn't, sometimes we can exaggerate for the kiddies because they'll be fine. There's a